If your business offer is so good, why do people still say, I'll think about it? The answer isn't your price. It isn't your product. It's actually a tiny switch in the human brain that most businesses actually ignore. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to flip that switch. The biggest enemy of any sale, if you've done any sales or any marketing or you're trying to increase your conversions, the biggest enemy of any of those is when people say, I'm going to do this later, or I'll get to it later, or I'll make a decision later. And later, unfortunately for you, is the default setting for the human brain. And so if you think about it, your brain is actually really lazy, and it's evolutionary wired to be lazy. It wants to save energy wherever it can because spending energy is expensive and making a decision takes energy. And so when you give someone a choice or you ask them to make a decision with no deadline, their brain just says, this obviously isn't a priority. I'm just going to deal with this later. And as we know with sales and marketing, when people say I'm going to do something later, it usually means never. But urgency actually flips that entire equation. Sprinkling in some scarcity or urgency changes everything. It changes the question from, should I buy this, to can I afford to miss out on this right now? So it's very different psychology. So how does this actually work in all of our brains? It comes down to this one idea. It's a powerful idea, and it's been studied and tested in behavioral science. And this idea is called loss aversion. That's just a fancy term for this simple fact that we hate losing things more than we enjoy gaining them. So the pain of losing $100 feels about twice as bad as the joy of finding $100. So if you picture, you're walking down the street one day and you get home and you check your pockets and suddenly you've lost $100 versus a scenario where you maybe have had the chance to enter a competition to win $100. You will probably not think about that competition if you decide not to enter it for very long, maybe a day at tops, right? But if you lose $100 coming home from work, you'll probably be thinking about that for weeks. And that's because the brain has this tendency to fixate on things that we've lost or that we are trying to avoid losing. So that's loss aversion right there. And so when you put a countdown timer on your offer, you're not really selling a discount. You're selling a way to avoid the pain of losing that discount. And this is the really important psychology that people generally miss and marketers generally miss when they are thinking about how they can increase their sales, increase their conversions as well. And so that little ticking clock that you might put on your sales page makes the idea of losing the deal feel real and painful as well. And that pain makes us act. Humans have this tendency to take action when we feel pain or to avoid feeling pain. This is basic psychology, but it works in sales and marketing as well. And so there is a reason that companies and different businesses say, only 3 left in stock when they are trying to get rid of stock. And it works very well. Your brain makes a simple calculation. If it's almost gone, it must be good, and I need to act now or I'll miss out forever. And that's kind of the logical steps that your brain actually goes through. So how do you use this tactic, this loss aversion tactic, this urgency tactic, without being a slimy, high pressure marketer? As you know, this is an ethical persuasion channel, and so everything that we teach, everything I teach, I want to teach it in a way where I'm encouraging you to think about everything ethically. Think about it in terms of how do you get a win-win for both you and your customer, and how does your customer or your client get a great outcome that's going to leave them better off than if they never interacted with you. So that's what I mean when I say, how do we do this without being a slimy, high-pressure marketer? Because we've all seen those people who lie, who say, only 2 items left in stock, and it's like an ebook, right, where it's obviously infinite stock. So it's simple. You tie your urgency or your scarcity to something real. So there are 3 clean ways to actually do this. The first, use a classic countdown timer. Sales ends Friday ready at midnight. It's simple, it's powerful, but you have to mean it. If the sale is still there on Saturday, or you send out an email afterwards saying, we've just extended the sale, you've basically destroyed all trust. And a lot of brands actually get that wrong. A lot of brands think that is the normal thing to do. It's not normal. People might buy from you once, but if you actually look over the lifetime of whatever you're selling, people generally won't come back to you because they know that you are just trying to get as many sales, aka get as much money as possible. And it's human nature to hate those type of people, right? Second, quantity. So the limited spot, for instance, only 5 spots left on this program. This works best when the limit is real because people can genuinely feel that it is genuine, right? So if you think about if you're doing some sort of coaching program or you're doing some sort of service and you feel that the quality will go down after you have taken above a certain number of people. For instance, if you're group coaching, you can only really deal with 20 people at a time because you feel like other people might not get the advice or might not get the ability to ask the questions. You might want to cap it at 20, and that is real, genuine scarcity right there. That is your decision, and it's ethical as well. So third, the group. So you've seen this one, 20 people are looking at this right now. This tells our brain, hey, if everyone wants this item that 20 other people are looking at, you see it on booking.com, or trying to book a hotel or a flight, it tells our brain, hey, if everyone else is looking at this, I should probably get it too before these guys take it up. Now here's the big warning. If everything is an emergency, then nothing is. Our brains work on contrast. If every email you send screams, this is your last chance to do this particular thing or buy this particular item, your audience eventually will just tune out because you become the marketer who just cried wolf. So urgency isn't a trick to get someone to buy something they don't want. It's the final nudge that turns someone's passive interest into real commitment. So your job isn't just to make people a great offer, it's to give people a reason to decide that now is the time to commit. So getting someone to decide now with a deadline is a huge win. You've just jumped ahead of 90% of your other competition who are happy to let their customers think about it because now you know a little bit of behavioral science, but just adding a deadline isn't actually enough. It actually creates a new problem. Should you use a countdown timer, or should you tell people that you only have a few left in stock? There's pros and cons to each of them, and one of these is often twice as powerful as the other, depending on what you sell. I break down the science of both urgency versus scarcity in this next video I've just linked at the end here. I'll show you exactly which one to use and when, so you can pick the right trigger for the right offer as well. Click there and I'll see you in the next video.